Hi there, Tad Hargrave from Marketing for Hippies with a puttering session case study. So this morning I had a puttering session with a woman who coaches women around midlife. So the immediate challenge with this is there's a lot of that out there. This island A of, oh, I've hit midlife and I feel a little disoriented and menopause and all this, and island B of feeling better. There's tons of books out there. There's tons of workshops, tons of coaches. You go down to the harbor looking for a boat that can get you from that island A to island B, and there are thousands of boats, tens of thousands of boats. So as she talked, this was part of the challenge. I was listening, and there wasn't a lot that was popping for me as something unique. So our business needs to stand out in some way. Stand out not as in just attention getting, sure, but also stand out in terms of, that's the one for me. Something that helps the filtering process that they can decide which boat to get on. Because that's, of course, I need a life coach. And then you start looking around at life coaches and, oh my God, who do you choose? So I was listening, and then she spoke about how a lot of her work, two things that jumped out. One was a lot of the work was helping women step into mentorship. Not just how do you make your life work for you, live your own best life in midlife, but how do you step into the role of mentorship when you're going through that. And number two, the need for retreat and solitude in that time. And she said, but it's not that most of these women are craving to be mentors, so maybe this would turn them off. It's what I would call island C. Island A might be, going through midlife, it's really terrible. I'm scared of being irrelevant and invisible. Island B, I'm really still seen and celebrated for being a woman. But island C might be stepping into the role of mentorship. So you can see they might be craving island B, cut to all of the fitness classes for midlife women and the pills you can take to, and all the anti-wrinkle everything that happens. So clearly there's a lot of people selling that island B, but what about island C? So we spoke about it, and I said, that's the thing that grabs me most. Stephen Jenkinson wrote a book called Come of Age, The Case for Elderhood in a Time of Trouble, I think is the tagline on it. So that book is making the case for elderhood. And I said, I think in a similar way, you might make the case for mentorship. And then you design a presentation where for women in midlife, but where what you're pointing to is not island B. In fact, there might be a critique of island B. Why is it that, we as women are taught to crave these things? Is island B really the solution? Or is it actually just another iteration of island A? Is it the trouble of island A that we won't acknowledge still in action, still in effect? And it becomes, it's really all a part of the same island. You think you got off the island, took a boat, but you just went around and you're back on the other side of the island, still trapped in a way because you aren't seeing more deeply the real nature of the malady, which may be how you're seen by society. And it's got you here, and then it gets you again here. And thus the need for solitude, taking some time to really see yourself more clearly, to see society more clearly, to see the gifts you have to bring, to see all the experience you've gained. And so she was nervous, though, that this mentorship thing might turn people off. And I said, but is this how we're going to navigate our businesses? Is I won't say something in case it offends people. It might turn some people off. And I said, it will. It absolutely. There'll be a lot of women who hear this like, no thanks. I just want the tight buns and tight skin, and I'll be getting a facelift. Whatever. They're not going to be interested in this. But I said, I bet you. I promise you, there'll be some women who are. And you don't need a million. You just need some who would resonate. And as we got to the end of the call, she said, what are the next steps? I said, well, you design a talk where you talk about this. Midlife women and mentorship. And when you're interviewed, that's what you talk about. When you give the talk, you talk about what do you see as mentorship? What are your spiritual beliefs that underlie this? Why does the mentorship matter so much? What are the consequences and costs if women don't step into these roles of mentorship? And what's the path to that? Because as she spoke about, a lot of the path was need for solitude, but also therapy and cleaning up the past, dealing with your stuff so that you can effectively be in that role, which just, I think, requires a bit of a retreat. So I just thought it was beautiful what she was offering. And what was so interesting to me was the most compelling part of it, this focus on mentorship, on contribution, not just self-actualization. That focus, that gem, she was hiding it because she thought, oh, it might turn some people off. And there's an old adage that says, if you can't fix it, feature it. She can't fix that that's what she wants to help women with. That's just the core of her point of view. So I said, feature it. And she said, but I'm also very blunt. I said, I would feature that too. Don't try to fix it, these things. There's certain things that are already fixed. Meaning stuck to a place. Her personality, that's kind of fixed. Her view about the mentorship thing, that's already fixed. So you can't refix something that's fixed. It's already been fixed. So if you can't fix it, because it's already fixed in, feature it. It's already there. Nothing you can do about it. So I'm excited to see where this goes for her, but I thought I would share this story. A few good lessons in it. One, the existence of Island C is something to think about. Sometimes the thing that you want to offer isn't what they're craving. And if you go to marketingforhippies.com/islandc, you can read more about it and even more in depth in my book, The Art of Relevance. But that's one, the existence of Island C, maybe there. If you go down that road, of course, the response won't be quite as dramatic. But this is more shifting into cultural work and out of coaching a little bit, which is something I'll be talking about more in the future. But still, I think it'll be enough to sustain her. And imagine this, she reaches out to a podcast and say, hey, I help women at midlife make that transition. Do you want to interview me? It's so generic. There's so many people out there. I doubt she'd even get a response. But if she were to say, look, I have this take about mentorship and solitude and letting go of how we're being seen and focusing on seeing ourselves and seeing the world, and I think that would get the attention of a lot of people who'd want to bring her in to talk about it. There you go. That's today's video. I'd love to hear your thoughts below, any comments, reflections in the comments below. And of course, if you're interested in learning more about this Island C thing, the book, The Art of Relevance, big. I also have a playlist on YouTube. If you go under my playlists, Relevance, Credibility, Value, talk more about this relevance piece, why it matters so much. And of course, marketingforhippies.com/starter-kit. The links below, you can get your own Marketing for Hippies starter kit where you'll see the full day-long workshop that I used to do all around North America, some of Europe. So thanks for stopping by, everybody.